Hi guys, just a little review today on a cheap joypad that I picked up for the PC. It's a USB joypad, it has 9 buttons and it is branded Play Sega. Now what Play Sega was a subscription service where you could play Mega Drive and I think Master System games online in a browser emulator. And this launched in 2008, I believe. I've never actually used the service myself. I've only found out about it recently after picking up the pad. But you got the pad when you took out a subscription to this Play service. I think it was $15 for 3 months, something like that. You paid your $15, you got this in the post, and you could play these Mega Drive and Master System games in the browser emulator. Now there's been a few revisions of this after researching online, and what I've got here is the latest revision of it, and the one that's not thought of as being the very best. So let's have a look at it. So what it actually is more or less an identical pad to the Sega Saturn pad, which happens to be one of my all-time favourite digital pads. Absolutely love it. Just to show what I was using previously on the PC, it was the Xbox 360 controller. This is a trusty one that I've had for a good few years, been great. Fantastic for twin stick action, like a lot of things about it. The only thing I don't like is the D-pad. It's just shocking really, it is absolutely terrible. Real bad D-pad on this particular controller and other revisions that I've used as well. So I wanted something with a much better D-pad, and this was a cheap option. I paid £5.50 for 2 of these delivered, so £2.75 each, next to nothing. It is branded Sega. Whether it's a real licensed item or a third-party knockoff, it's difficult to say. On the packaging, as well as on the back of the controller, it's branded Propaganda, item number HL-F2412. I'll put that number in the description or in the title somewhere, so we've got a record of that and you can check if you're interested. Now the actual feel of the pad. Firstly, the D-pad, I would say, let me just compare it to a real Saturn one here. It's not far off, you know, it's not far off at all. I think if it was worn in a little more, it might be identical, because this one, you know, it's my original one that I've had for God knows how long now, probably going on 20 years, something like that. When was the Saturn launched? Whenever it was launched anyway, it's about 20 years ago, give or take. And you know, it's been used quite a lot really, so you can imagine a bit of wear being there. This one has a very similar feel to it. The face buttons, let's start with the start button, does protrude a little more. Again, that might be down to age and wear, and it feels like it's of a softer rubber. All the other buttons are hard plastic, this one's rubberized, the same as it is on the original Saturn pad. That's neither here nor there though, it's not an action button, doesn't really matter, but there is a slight difference there. Now onto the face buttons. We've got the bottom row, the larger buttons A, B, C, as they are on the Saturn pad, and X, Y, Z for the smaller buttons above. And the actual feel of them, let's have a comparison. The plastic does have a slightly different feel. The new one, the white one here, the Play Sega pad, seems to have a slight texturing to the top of the button. Again, that could possibly be the textures worn off the original Saturn pad with age again, but they're very similar. They feel very, very similar in response time, and there's a little bit of movement in both of them. In a blind test, I think I could probably tell which one is the new pad, but only just. They are very close again. Same as the D-pad really, very, very close. Top row buttons, the same. And let's have a look at the shoulder buttons. Now they are quite different actually. I think they're a slightly different shape. Looks like the original Saturn ones protrude a little bit more towards the back of the pad, the bottom of the button. And more responsive, I would say, the Saturn ones. They don't feel quite as good actually, they feel less authentic than the other buttons. That one, I could tell every single time I would guess right in a blind test, I'd know which one was the real pad and which one was the newer PC pad. But still usable, you know, there's no problems with them as such, it's just different. Different sound, different feel, different response. I think you could probably get off more shots with the original one, it just feels a lot more responsive. But overall, all things considered, and for the price that I've paid for it, I'm very happy with these. And I bought two of them because occasionally I will want to play a six-button fighting game with friends, and the best way to do it, rather than have one on an arcade stick and one on a 360 controller, is have two identical pads really. And that's what I bought them for, and they work really well actually for anything from Tekken through to Street Fighter. I've played all the Marvel games, Capcom vs Marvel, etc. Yeah, very good. They've worn okay. I've not used them that much, to be honest with you, but I've read that people have had some real problems with them, with the D-pad breaking and not feeling right, and I think perhaps they've had quality issues rather than a bad batch of pads as such. There may be not very good quality control on these, but the ones I've got at the moment, they do feel great, and for the money I'm happy with it, you know. The USB cords round about 1.8 meters. I've not measured it, but I've done a rough calculation, stretched it out, and yeah, I reckon about 1.8 meters is about right for it. Stress relief on both ends as well on the USB end, so that should wear relatively okay as long as you're not too rough with it. Seems alright. So yeah, if you're in the market for a cheap pad, you know, it's nice to have the Sega logo on there, whether it's authentic or not, I'm not really sure. But for the price, you can't really go wrong, to be honest with you. I'm happy with it. I can do fireballs and dragon punches first time with it, no problem at all. Just as easy as I can on an arcade stick. So that's a great test really for any kind of pad. If you can play Street Fighter properly on a cheap pad, I think you've got a pretty good cheap pad. Anyway guys, that's it from me. And I'll put some links. I'll put the link to the ones I've actually bought in the description. I think the guy wanted a little bit more, something like £3.50 each. I put him an offer in for £5.50 for two delivered, and he accepted the offer on eBay. You know, he's got a lot of them, and he's got quite good feedback as well. So yeah, there we go. That's it. The Play Sega Saturn like pad. I might in the future open this up just to see if the innards are interchangeable. I suspect most of it probably will be, if not all of it. That'd be quite nice, because if they do break down, at least I've got some spare parts that I can use for my normal Sega Saturn pads. So that's it. Cheers guys, see you next time.